All right, we are beginning a tutorial today on how to set up a sermon notes inside of ProPresenter. This is specifically for the Saturday Night Live service. So the first thing you want to do is open up ProPresenter. Notice here that we are using ProPresenter 5. As ProPresenter 5 opens, there's a couple of settings, especially if you're using it for the first time, that you're going to want to make. Those settings are over here under ProPresenter, and if you're on a Mac, go into Preferences. The big thing you're going to want to do is make sure your output screen, this is the screen size that we're going to send to the projector. Your output screen size should be 1280 by 768. 1280 by 768. Once again, to get to that, ProPresenter Preferences, and if you come up, it might pop up to a General tab. Make sure you go over here to Display, and you want 1280 by 768. So one of the things that we normally do is what we're going to send you is you'll have, this is an example, this is 611, this was one I did a couple of weeks ago, that it's going to have some graphics along with it. Each sermon series we're going to produce a graphic, and that graphic is one we try to keep using pretty consistently for the entire series. So a couple of ways that I kind of work through this to do this sort of quickly is in order to keep some level of consistency. I'll come over here in the library, I'll right click or control click, and I'll tell this I want it to duplicate. And you'll see it has the same title and it just has a 1 at the end. So then I'll come back to it again, you can right click, I'll tell it to rename. And this particular week is 0723 and 16. God's Provision is still the sermon series. All right. Now, when you get the notes from us, they're going to come to you in a Word format. We'll email them to you in a Word format. One thing you're going to want to do in Word, at least that's really helpful for me, is you're going to want to be able to show all tools. So I think that's under Format, or sometimes there's a little button like this particular one here, a little paragraph, show non-printing characters. And one of the things that I've done here, is when you get the message from Pastor, it is going to show up in a Word document, but it was not created in a Word document. I've already done some work to this one, so I want to kind of show you what it looks like in a, let's see, show in Finder. Let's open this guy up. You can see that it has carriage returns. And the reason it has carriage returns is this document was not created in Word. It was actually created in WordPerfect. And you want to get rid of those because they're going to give you some problems later. So you can just go through, hit backspace or delete as appropriate. And it's important to come down here and look. Like you can see there's one down here that's done. And so it'll ultimately kind of look like this. So once you get it kind of formatted and set, you go back over here to ProPresenter, and notice this is the one that we've done. We're going to want to go into Editor. When you get into Editor, there's this, you can see this is the slide that was created. This is the kind of the series graphic. So what I come here is we'll come into this particular box and we're going to want to add the title. Well, the title is up here. So we'll come and we'll select that. To select that, I'm going, Command C, or you can go to Edit, Copy, whichever is easiest for you. We'll come back over here, and one thing that becomes really important is once we get all the formatting of this done, it saves a lot of time. Is when you paste, you go paste and match style. You can figure out what all those little keys are there and do it through a keyboard shortcut, but I just go edit, paste, and match style. And so what it does here is it tells us it's putting it in, it's got all the right formatting, all the right size, everything along those lines. So as we can see, this particular one is a little too big, but it's repeated. We don't need God's Provision there. We need that. So we're going to delete, just make this fit from a sizing perspective. And what I'm going to do here is just lower the text size. And I'll do the same thing under Romans so it doesn't look a little bit. I think we had that at 65. So that's your title slide. Pastor usually has a little phrase that he likes putting up to sort of get you into the message. Same thing. Command C. We're going to go to slide number 2. We're going to select all the text in this slide. And then I'm going to go edit, paste, and match style. And it's ready to go. It's pretty simple. Now we go to the second slide. You can see on the second slide, there's basically, it's all one text box, and that's going to be important here in a minute. as to why it needs to be all one text box. But there's two separate types of formatting. So the first is kind of the title point. So he's got this same title point here, and you select, go to the top, copy, paste, edit, paste, and match style. Come down to the bullet points underneath, copy, go to the bullet points, and oh, see, I just hit paste, and you can see it came in there. So I'm going to backspace and hit Command Z, and I'm going to go hit paste and match style. And man, that saves us a whole bunch of time. So these are actually lined up pretty well, but I would like to have a little bit more space in between those. So I'm just going to hit enter. Now there are other ways to do this, and I'm probably going to put a space up top there, and that's already kind of set. I'm going to, instead of making this 50, I'm just going to make it 20. Now, you're a little bit limited inside ProPresenter. You could do this with other ways in like page layout programs, but with ProPresenter, it's just easier to do that. So in order to make it so that the text appears one slide at a time, there's a spot down here that says text reveal. You see where it says either none, which means it just all shows up at the same time, bullet list, which means it's going to come by paragraph, or fill in the blank, and fill in the blank is what we use. So in order to make fill in the blank work, you come up here, and all the words that are bold-faced are the words that are going to be blank on the outlines that people receive. So you come there and you just underline it. And when you underline it, that activates the fill in the blank section. Obey, and I'm just hitting Command U to underline. So that is the first point. Point number 2, we come back over here, we copy the top, we go here, and we edit, paste, and match style. Come back to the main points. We copy. There's only 2 here, so we'll probably won't make the edit, paste, and match style. I'm probably gonna add a little bit more spacing here to fill up the slide. And because of the way this particular graphic works, I'm actually going to add one more space. And I'm going to hit Command U. And I'm going to hit Command U. Because we have more space on this slide, I'm actually going to change the size of this font up here just to get it a little bit bigger. And I'll make that up to 70. And that just has a little bit better look to it. So that's where the artistic element comes in a little bit. So on to point number, I think it's 3 for us, and we want encouragement by challenge. So we come here, I move that ever so slightly, there, edit, paste and match style, same guy down here, Command C, and we will edit and paste and match style. And this is kind of full, so I'm going to come here, I'm going to underline these points that need to be filled in, and we'll come back and see if we have room to put a little bit of space, and we do, it looks like. And we'll come back here, make that 20, come back here and make that 20. And I'm actually going to try to increase this. Well, no, it's looking pretty good. It's all on the same line. I usually would like to have a little bit more. Make that up to 70, so that looks a little better. Now, in this week, he had more slides. So we're going to come back here, and we're just going to delete that slide. I right-clicked on it, and I'm going to confirm delete. And I'm going to come to this slide, and I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to confirm delete. And delete that. So we get into this last slide, and that's our sermon. Now, we will add the verses into it because we have the verses on our system. We have the Bible translations on our system at the church. So how do you get it from here to me? So to do that, we want to first save. You can either do Command S or File, Save All. And then you kind of come down here, and I think you can right-click this, and you want to export Pro5 bundle. And I'm going to call it by the sermon series of, or by the name of the title, 723. Doesn't matter where you call it. Where is going to be the location you're going to send it to. And it's saving that to your desktop. So when it comes to the desktop, you'll have a file, and it's going to be in a Pro5X format. And if you wanted to be able to save that for me, you can send it to me by email. I'm gonna save it to this particular Dropbox, and let's see, it already sent it somewhere. I think it just dropped it into my Dropbox file in general. But you can save it to Dropbox. If I can share you a folder, you can email it to me. You can put it on a flash drive and hand it to me. But probably email is the best way. You can see it's not that big of a file. Whenever I can find where it is, that's where it is. I'm going to put it down here because it's easier to find. And you can see it's a 980 kilobyte file, so it's not that big. And I'll have all the same graphics, and because we did it the same screen format, everything will be the same. And so that's the basic setup. There are times where you'll need to split slides and work things, and you'll figure that kind of stuff out. But if you have questions, let me know. Thanks.